The very first thing I did after being reborn was crawl beside a filthy drainage ditch searching for a fat crimson parasite. The second I found it, I grabbed the writhing creature and swallowed it whole without hesitation. Even as it thrashed violently inside my throat, even as nausea nearly made me throw up, I forced it down anyway, because in less than 24 hours, the Gamma Cataclysm would descend upon the world. And when it did, every human would evolve based on the last living thing they consumed. Some people ate crocodile eggs and transformed into colossal monsters that devoured entire cities. Some consumed fried chicken wings and awakened blazing phoenix bloodlines capable of ruling the skies. But in my previous life, I accidentally ate dried rat meat before the mutation began, and I became a disgusting rat mutant hunted by everyone. In the end, I was crushed to death beneath the paw of an unknown nightmare beast. But this time was different. After being reborn, I awakened the infinite devouring system. The stronger the creature I consumed, the greater the power I would gain in return. And this crimson parasite in front of me? In the previous timeline, it eventually evolved into a disaster-level entity capable of devouring almost anything alive. Right now, it squirmed inside a glass container, its bloated red body twisted non-stop like some horrifying oversized maggot. My eyes narrowed. If devouring makes me stronger, then what am I hesitating for? I rolled up my sleeve and shoved my hand into the container. The parasite reacted instantly. Its slippery body twisted violently, escaping my grip again and again. Then suddenly, it bit directly into my finger. Blood poured into the container. The moment the parasite tasted fresh blood, it became even more aggressive. That instantly pissed me off. Without another second of hesitation, I grabbed the thing with brute force and swallowed it alive. The moment it slid into my stomach, a mechanical voice echoed inside my mind. Host has successfully devoured mutated crimson parasite. Genetic extraction complete. New biological sequence acquired. Almost immediately, a tingling sensation spread through my hand. I looked down and froze. The chunk of flesh missing from my finger was regenerating. Countless tiny crimson threads burst from the wound, weaving together rapidly like living silk. Within seconds, brand new flesh formed over the injury completely. Regeneration? Not only that, a massive surge of energy exploded throughout my body. Every muscle felt overflowing with endless strength. I rushed toward a nearby mirror, and the second I saw my reflection, even I was stunned. My original height of around 5'7" had shot up to nearly 6'3". My black hair had transformed into long crimson strands flowing past my shoulders. Even my grayish-brown eyes had turned blood red, and somehow, my appearance carried an eerie, almost inhuman beauty now. But the strangest change came next. I noticed something horrifying on my right palm. A mouth. A literal mouth had appeared in the center of my hand. Rows of razor-sharp teeth lined its interior like some miniature abyss. It looked exactly like the parasite's original jaws. I immediately understood its function: blood absorption. I could drain biological energy directly from enemies. But honestly, that created another problem. The apocalypse hadn't officially started yet. Walking around looking like this would definitely attract attention. But strangely, the moment that thought crossed my mind, my appearance instantly returned to normal. The crimson hair faded back to black. The mouth on my palm disappeared completely. I blinked in shock. So I can suppress the mutations. That changed everything. I checked the system interface again. 2 devour slots remained, which meant I still had time to become even stronger before the cataclysm began. And according to my memories, there was one creature I absolutely needed to obtain: a rare electric blood mosquito. In the previous life, after the apocalypse began, that mosquito mutated into an extremely dangerous lightning-type creature capable of unleashing devastating electrical attacks. If I could devour it now, the genetic fusion might unlock an even stronger evolutionary path. The only problem? The mosquito belonged to an ultra-rich hidden tycoon, and with my current identity, there was no normal way I could ever get close to him. So instead, I went after his daughter. Near the outskirts of the city sat an abandoned park beside the school district. Every afternoon, the tycoon's daughter quietly walked there alone before her private car arrived. She kept a deliberately low profile to avoid exposing her wealthy background, and right now, I could already see her standing beneath the trees. Yan Xiaotian. Even from a distance, the girl looked stunning, but there was also a cold elegance around her that kept people away instinctively. At that moment, a Rolls-Royce slowly approached from the road nearby. 3 bodyguards stepped out immediately and opened the door respectfully for her. Seeing she was about to leave, I casually walked out from the corner. Smiling lightly, I said, "Relax, I'm not here to rob you." I paused briefly. Actually, scratch that. This is technically a kidnapping. Yan Xiaotian frowned slightly, but surprisingly didn't panic. Makes sense. Her bodyguards weren't ordinary security. All three were professionally trained former military personnel. The nearest guard charged at me instantly without saying a word. I casually threw a punch. Boom! The man's face twisted violently before his body flew backward over 15 feet through the air. He smashed into a crooked tree and lost consciousness instantly. Yan Xiaotian's eyes widened in disbelief. The remaining two guards froze completely. Even I was a little surprised. My strength increased this much already? Curious, I casually turned toward the Rolls-Royce beside us and kicked it once. A deafening metallic impact exploded through the park. The luxury car lifted off the ground and slid several meters away before collapsing into a twisted wreck. The entire front end caved inward completely. Silence. Absolute silence. Yan Xiaotian stood there frozen. The remaining guards looked so terrified their legs nearly gave out. Ignoring them completely, I walked straight toward her. For the first time, panic finally appeared in her eyes. Wow, what do you want? Money? Or me? I shook my head calmly. Call your father. Tell him to bring me the rare electric mosquito from his private collection. One mosquito, one daughter. Fair trade. Yan Xiaotian's expression turned blank. She genuinely couldn't process what she had just heard. After all this, after destroying a luxury car with one kick, after knocking out military-trained guards with a single punch, the thing I wanted was a mosquito, but right now, she had no choice. Hands trembling slightly, she pulled out her phone and called her father. Meanwhile, inside the conference room of Tianxing Group, a middle-aged man with an overwhelming presence answered the call, and the moment he heard his daughter's terrified voice, his entire expression changed instantly. Someone actually dared to touch his daughter inside Daru City? Move now. Call the military. I want their elite response teams deployed immediately. Bring the best medical specialists too. Full equipment, full emergency support. I'm heading there myself. The entire Tianxing Group exploded into motion. Meanwhile, back at the abandoned park, Yan Xiaotian lowered her phone slowly. My father's already on his way. He'll be here within 30 minutes. I gave a slight nod. Then, after a brief silence, I finally spoke. 2 days from now, a crimson aurora will sweep across the planet, and every living thing on Earth will mutate. Animals, insects, humans, everything. The world order you know right now, it's about to collapse completely. I pointed toward the electric mosquito inside the silver case. That thing won't stay harmless for long. Once the mutation begins, it'll evolve into a real monster. If nobody deals with it, your entire family dies. Yan Xiaotian stared at me like I was insane. Honestly, fair enough. Everything I said sounded completely ridiculous, but I continued calmly anyway. I'm not taking it for free. In exchange, I'm warning you ahead of time. That's a fair trade. She still looked unconvinced, so instead of wasting more words, I sliced open my palm using my fingernail. Blood dripped instantly, but then countless crimson threads burst from the wound and rapidly stitched the flesh back together right in front of her eyes. Within seconds, my hand was completely healed. The two bodyguards watching nearby instantly felt chills run down their spines. Even Yan Xiaotian's calm expression finally cracked. I looked directly at her. Your family controls half the supply chains in Daru City. When the chaos begins, food, medicine, fuel, everything becomes priceless. If your family trusts me, then work with me. I can keep you alive, because no matter how powerful mutated warriors became, they still needed supplies. Food, water, shelter, resources. In the apocalypse, surviving alone was suicide. Building alliances early mattered far more, and the Yan family, they were the perfect partners. Yan Xiaotian slowly lowered her gaze. I'll tell my father everything. Then we'll decide. Right then, police sirens suddenly echoed through the streets. Several armored vehicles stormed into the park entrance. A middle-aged man stepped out first, Yan Nanji. The moment he saw the destroyed Rolls-Royce, his heart nearly stopped. But after spotting his daughter unharmed, he visibly relaxed. I casually glanced at the heavily armed soldiers surrounding the area before smiling lightly. Boss Yan, you brought what I asked for? Yan Nanji narrowed his eyes slightly. Clearly, he hadn't expected the kidnapper to be someone this young. Without saying much, he tossed a silver briefcase toward me. Your mosquito. I caught the case and opened it immediately. Inside rested a deep blue electric mosquito the size of a forearm. Its body crackled faintly with static electricity while releasing an awful fishy odor. Without hesitation, I grabbed it and bit down. Crunch. Everyone froze. Yan Nanji looked completely dumbfounded. The soldiers nearby were equally stunned. What the hell? Is this guy mentally unstable? But before anyone could react further, electricity suddenly burst across my skin. Blue arcs of lightning danced around my body violently. At the same time, the system notification echoed in my mind. Devouring successful. Rare electric mosquito absorbed. Genetic extraction complete. I slowly raised my head. Instantly, My black hair transformed back into flowing crimson strands. My pupils glowed like burning embers. Then I stretched out both hands. A crimson energy sphere condensed between my fingers, and the second it exploded, lightning surged across the entire area. Every armed soldier struck by the electric shock collapsed unconscious instantly. Only Yan Xiaotian and Yan Nanzi remained untouched. The father and daughter stared at me in complete disbelief. I simply glanced back at them one last time, then disappeared silently into the night. Less than 1 day remained before the cataclysm, and I still had one final devour slot left. I needed to use it before everything began. Then suddenly, a memory surfaced in my mind. Inside Daru City's largest zoo, there was a special mutated hawk. Its feathers were harder than steel, and its sonic screams could rupture human organs. Right now, I already possessed regeneration and lightning abilities. The only thing missing was flight. The next morning, I headed straight toward Daru City First Zoo. The moment I arrived at the hawk enclosure, I stopped cold. The mutation had already begun. The creature's black feathers now looked like sharpened metal blades. Its eyes glowed with a terrifying cold light. Even its claws resembled venomous hooks. At that moment, the hawk slammed violently against the iron cage. Boom! The reinforced enclosure shattered apart instantly, and the mutated hawk shot directly toward me. My pupils contracted, but in my eyes, its movement suddenly slowed down dramatically. Without hesitation, I grabbed the creature by the throat midair, then smashed it brutally into the ground. Devouring successful, mutated hawk absorbed. Genetic fusion complete. The next second, a massive pair of black wings erupted from my back. Their wingspan stretched over 20 feet wide. With one powerful flap, I blasted straight into the sky. But before I could test my new speed, my phone suddenly rang. Yan Xiaotian's anxious voice came through immediately. Mo Bei, there's a problem. Several humanoid monsters broke into one of our warehouses. Can you come help us? For the first time, I could hear genuine panic in her voice. I didn't hesitate. Send me the address. A few minutes later, I landed near a massive food storage warehouse. Inside were huge amounts of long-term survival supplies. Meanwhile, deep within the warehouse, two mutated men were laughing excitedly. One of them had a grotesque pig-like nose and a mountain of fat covering his body. Ha 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 ha. Boss really picked the perfect place. With this warehouse, we'll never run out of food again. Beside him stood a massive man covered in bull-like muscles and curved horns. The horned mutant grinned viciously. We finally got powers. This world belongs to us now. Then his eyes landed directly on Yan Xiaotian. The way he stared at her instantly turned disgusting. Huh, boss? This girl's top-tier quality. The pig mutant burst into vulgar laughter beside him. Yan Xiaotian's face slowly turned pale. Yan Nanji stepped protectively in front of his daughter, his expression grim. Just as he was about to speak, boom! A massive hole suddenly exploded through the warehouse ceiling. The next second, I dropped down from above like a meteor. Boom! The concrete floor shattered beneath my feet. The moment Yan Xiaotian saw me, she unconsciously let out a breath of relief. Meanwhile, the pig-nosed mutant and the horned brute both frowned instantly. The horned man narrowed his eyes. So there are other blessed ones besides us? Then he sneered coldly. Kid, I suggest you stay out of this unless you slap. Before he could finish speaking, I casually backhanded him across the face. His entire head exploded sideways as his body crashed violently into the warehouse wall. The pig mutant didn't even have time to react. I stepped forward once and punched straight through his chest. Silence. Complete silence filled the warehouse. The terrified workers hiding in the corners stared at me in total shock. Those monsters that had nearly killed everyone were erased instantly like insects. Ignoring the corpses completely, I walked toward Yan Xiaotian and her father. Yan Nanji instinctively shielded his daughter behind him. I looked at him calmly. So, have you made your decision yet? After a long silence, Yan Nanji finally asked carefully, Mo Bei, if we refuse to work with you, will you kill us too? I shook my head. I'm not interested in eating people. The atmosphere relaxed slightly after hearing that. Honestly, after seeing me devour monsters alive before, most of them were genuinely terrified of me. Yan Nanji took a deep breath. If you hadn't arrived, we'd already be dead. So from now on, we'll follow your lead. The way he looked at me now had completely changed. Before, I was just a dangerous unknown, but now, in his eyes, I was their only hope of surviving the apocalypse. I nodded slightly. The cataclysm is about to fully begin. When it does, all existing order disappears. Governments, currency, laws, everything collapses. So before that happens, we need a secure base. Yan Nanji immediately responded. My mountain villa complex has top-level security systems. The construction materials are military grade. If you don't mind, you can use it as headquarters. I agreed instantly, because raw strength alone wasn't enough anymore. Once the apocalypse entered its later stages, food shortages would become catastrophic. Then came the environmental disasters, 10-year droughts, frozen extinction winters, acid storms. Without a strong shelter, survival would become impossible. After confirming the plan, I turned toward the workers trembling near the wall. If anyone wants to leave, I won't stop you. But if you stay with me, you follow my orders, without exception, because this world is about to become far crueler than you can imagine. The workers exchanged nervous glances before answering almost together. Understood, I nodded in satisfaction. Good, then move the supplies. An hour later, inside the Yunpan mountain villa, everyone finally relaxed slightly after unloading the food and materials. Yan Nanji sat down heavily on the couch, exhausted. Mobei, shouldn't we continue stockpiling supplies? Food, medicine, water, those matter. I shook my head. They do, but there's something even more important now. The first forbidden zone is about to descend. The resources inside are worth hundreds of times more than ordinary supplies. Yan Xiaotian and her father exchanged confused looks. Clearly, neither of them understood what a forbidden zone actually was, but they wisely chose not to interrupt. After a moment, Yan Xiaotian finally asked quietly, "You said before, if we hadn't handed over the electric mosquito, our entire family would have died after the cataclysm. Was that really true?" Yan Nanji also looked uneasy. Then he sighed bitterly. "If only we could become as powerful as you." I leaned back calmly before explaining. When the crimson aurora sweeps across Earth, some humans will awaken, and the form of their awakening depends on the final animal they consumed beforehand. However, the mutation success rate is random. The moment I finished speaking, Yan Nanji immediately ordered the kitchen staff to prepare dozens of animal-based dishes. Within minutes, the dining table looked completely insane. Snake soup, fried fish, bird meat, beef organs, exotic insects. Anything remotely connected to animal genetics got thrown onto the table. The flavors were horrifying mixed together, but neither Yan Nanji nor Yan Xiaotian hesitated. To gain power in the new world, they forced everything down. Afterward, Yan Xiaotian wiped her mouth awkwardly and asked, "So, that's enough?" I nodded. "Now we wait. Tomorrow, when the aurora arrives, you'll know whether you succeeded." Then I stood up slowly, and once the first forbidden zone appears, you're coming with me. The night passed quickly. Then finally, the next morning, deep within the dark universe, a strange pale blue aurora suddenly appeared, and within seconds, it swept across the entire planet. The true apocalypse had begun. Under the aurora's glow, countless animals around the world started mutating instantly. A stray dog suddenly expanded into a giant beast over 10 feet tall. Its eyes glowed with murderous light as it charged into a crowd and tore people apart. At the villa, Yan Xiaotian and her father also began transforming. Golden light erupted around Yan Xiaotian's body. A radiant sunflower-shaped mark appeared across her chest, while streams of golden flames circled around her. Meanwhile, Yan Nanji's body rapidly expanded past 9 feet tall. His muscles swelled violently, and a pair of black horn-like spikes emerged from his forehead. The man stared at his own hands in disbelief. This power, it feels limitless. Yan Xiaotian looked equally shocked. Her body felt unbelievably light, almost like gravity itself had weakened around her. I calmly looked toward the crimson sky outside. The cataclysm has officially begun, and the first forbidden zone should be opening soon. Get everyone ready. We're hunting resources. Soon after, we departed in a massive armored vehicle. 2.5 hours later, we finally reached the entrance of the Forbidden Zone. A giant swirling vortex floated in the middle of nowhere, like a crack in reality itself. Yan Nanji was about to send scouts in first, but before anyone could react, I slammed the accelerator. The armored truck roared forward straight into the vortex. Not far away, another group secretly witnessed everything. Leading them was Li Huan, Yan Xiaotian's obsessive admirer. He stared at the disappearing vehicle in disbelief. What the hell? How's a broke loser like Mo Bei connected to the Yan family now? One of his followers asked nervously. "Boss, do we go in too?" Li Huan hesitated briefly before snorting coldly. "Even that guy dared to drive inside. We already have powers now. What are we scared of?" Meanwhile, inside the Forbidden Zone, darkness swallowed everything. Dense black fog covered the land endlessly. Above us hung a massive blood-red sun, radiating eerie crimson light. Then suddenly, strange howls echoed through the mist ahead. Everyone inside the truck immediately became tense. I calmly stepped on the brakes. There are dark creatures inside this place. You can think of them as alien life forms. Then I looked toward Yan Nanji. Boss Yan, you drive, I'll clear the road ahead. Before he could even respond, I had already vanished from the vehicle. The next second, shapes began rushing out from the fog. A group of twisted humanoid creatures slowly emerged. Every one of them stood over 7 feet tall. Their bodies were wrapped in swirling black mist, and although they vaguely resembled humans, there was nothing human left about them anymore. Inside the armored truck, Yan Nanji's expression changed instantly. This is bad. Mo Bei may be strong, but there are too many of them. He immediately frowned and reached for the door handle. Xiaotian, you drive. I'm going down there to help him. But before he could even open the door, boom! A deafening impact echoed outside. I casually swung my arm once. That single slap created a shockwave powerful enough to distort the air itself. The 6 dark creatures charging in front instantly exploded apart mid-run. Not flesh, not blood, nothing remained. Their bodies simply burst into black fragments and scattered into the fog. Yan Nanji froze with one hand still on the door handle. What the hell? The man stared outside, completely dumbfounded. Those terrifying monsters were erased with one slap. Even Yan Xiaodian's breathing slowed slightly. Her eyes silently followed my figure through the mist, watching me casually obliterate dark creatures one after another. Something inside her heartbeat started accelerating uncontrollably. Meanwhile, after clearing the first wave, I continued walking deeper into the forbidden zone alone. Honestly, the creatures inside the first dungeon were far weaker than I remembered. Not to mention, I had awakened 3 entire days earlier than everyone else in this timeline. Against enemies at this level, I didn't even need to activate my full transformation. Every dark creature that appeared, no matter how many there were, got erased instantly with a single strike. Inside the vehicle, Yan Nanji and his daughter gradually stopped reacting altogether. At first they were shocked, then horrified, and eventually completely numb. Because no matter how many monsters appeared, the result never changed. One hit, instant death. Yan Nanji slowly leaned back in his seat with a strange smile creeping across his face. Then he casually glanced toward his daughter. So, what do you think about that, kid? The moment Yan Xiaotian heard that, her entire face turned red instantly.